Today I'm going to teach you guys how to make a homemade softbox. Like that one. See that big white thing right there? Yeah, like that. Let's get undone.
Gerald Undone. He's crazy.
Hello Legion, I'm Gerald Undone, and today I'm going to show you how to make a homemade softbox. I made the big one that I'm using to light this video right now a couple months ago, and it's been pretty great and I've been pretty happy with it. So I'm going to make a second one because it's more handy to have two, and I figured I would make a video out of showing you guys how I made the first one. So here we go. So for the first step is we need to construct a box, the container for the softbox. If you guys have no idea what a softbox is, I don't really know how you would have found this video because you probably would have searched for softbox. But anyway, if you don't know what a softbox is, it's a box that you have lights inside of, and then it's usually diffused so that it, rather than having a light bulb shining straight on you, which makes a really harsh, shadowy look, you spread the light out over a larger surface, which makes a more diffused, nicely lit, even, softer kind of light, which is much more appealing and much more easy to work with than harsh, shadowy, spotlighty kind of things. So we're going to make one. So the first thing I've got is this foam board. It's just thin dollar store foam board. Like, I don't know. This says Ready board. But anyway, it's black, which is nice for the outside look, and also so that you don't get a lot of leached light, because if you made it out of a white material, it's possible that you would kind of have like your box would glow, you know, so that you would light areas you're probably not trying to light. Okay, so I measured out a piece that's the full width of the foam board, which is 20 inches. 20 by 20 softboxes are common. And then the end piece is 10 inches wide. So I just went 5 inches in from each side, making a 10-inch space in the middle. And then I just used another piece of foam board as a straight edge to draw lines from the points. So this is going to be our basic shape, and this is what our panels are going to be made out of. So now we just cut it out. Okay, so once we have one panel cut out, it's a lot easier because then we can just trace it onto the other ones. Okay, so once you have your 4 pieces cut, we're ready to move on to the next step. Don't worry so much about the fit and finish of them, because we'll be using tape or type of adhesive to hold it together. I use Gorilla Tape, and it's black, so it kind of seals in the edges and makes it look more finished anyway. So these cosmetic imperfections will be touched up. Okay, so now we just need to cut our base plate, which is going to be 10 by 10 on the inside. So I'm sure you can see how it's going to go now, but it's going to be like this, right? Okay. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to fix some aluminum foil to the panels so that you don't lose a bunch of your light's power because the black will absorb it. You want to reflect and magnify that light and blast it all out through the diffused material. So for this purpose, you're going to want to make sure that the shiny side is pointing out, the most reflective side. So if you flip it over like this, then you can just cut away the excess. Then you can use a little bit of Scotch tape to hold it in place. So there, we have a nice reflective board. So we're going to have to do this to all 4. This is an opportunity as well to make it look a little bit better. So if you have a side that has some imperfections on it, or which has a label on it, those would be the sides that you would want to cover up with the tin foil. Okay, so now we have our 4 panels covered in tin foil. Now we need to deal with the back plate. So in order to put a light inside of the softbox, there's lots of different ways that you can go about it. What I like to do is there are these heads that you can buy for light stands, and they kind of look something like this. This one isn't a store-bought head though, but they look something like this. There's a socket on there, usually a switch and a cord, and then some kind of, you know, ball and socket or tilt head for adjusting the light. I made this one by taking a lamp socket and bolting it onto an old-fashioned light stand head. So I still get the tilt options, but I also get the control that would come with a lamp socket. So this didn't cost me very much, but if you do buy this part, there's quite a few places you can get them for. They're like $10, and they have a 5/8 socket hole on them, which is nice because they can go on a light stand or a mic stand, and then they'll have the socket right in there. But basically, what we need to do is we need to make it so that this hole can go through our base so that the panel will be like this, okay? So we're going to center it, obviously. There's got to be nicer ways to do this. I'm just doing it with a knife. I just want it to be just big enough, but not too big. I want it to still be kind of tight. And then maybe you can kind of force it the rest of the way in. So there, once you have it like that, you've got your plate here. So now I have this thing, which you're able to get at Home Depot. It basically turns a single socket into 2 sockets, which is handy for this because we're just going to be using household bulbs. And so if you want to get enough power out of your softbox, it helps to have more than one bulb. So we're going to screw that in, which is going to help hold it in place. And then I've got my Gorilla Tape here, which is basically just really heavy-duty black tape. You can get this at Home Depot or Walmart. And I'm just going to tape the bloody hell out of it. Another reason why I like using the tape is that it protects the socket, the threaded parts of this socket adapter from the aluminum foil making contact with it. It's not a big concern for a few reasons, but something to consider. It's also this joint that's going to hold the majority of the weight, so you want to feel pretty confident in how strong it is. So once you've got it taped into oblivion, then you can apply some aluminum foil to this panel as well. The reason why you want to use Scotch tape is because it doesn't block the reflective nature of the tin foil. When you're finished, it should look something like this. Okay, so now we need to attach everything. So we're going to go back to the Gorilla Tape. So we're going to put a piece along here, and then flip it over, place the back on it, and then just make a bit of a hinge with that. And that should give us enough strength to be able to secure the rest of them. Okay, so now that we got it mostly taped up, we can still tape more afterwards for cosmetic if we want to tape up some of the tinfoil, cover that up. But as far as function goes, we have ourselves a box. Okay, so what I have here are 2 Philips 14-watt LEDs, which equates to about 100 watts of a conventional bulb, and but they're high efficiency because they're LEDs. And the temperature of them is 5500 K, I think. So it's in the daylight range. Maybe just a hair warmer from the like 6500 K, blue daylight. These are a little bit warmer than that, but they make a pretty white light, and they're nice. And I found that the Philips brand don't make a lot of noise, in my opinion, and have been pretty good for reliability. So we're going to screw them in, and we're just going to test it out to make sure that, before we go any further, that they're actually working. Prepare to be blinded. Ah, jeez. So, it works. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to diffuse the light, which is what I was talking about, the purpose of a softbox. So there's lots of materials that you can do this with. People use, bed sheets, tissue paper, a t-shirt. You can buy a diffusion panel if you really want. But since this is sort of like a homemade, stuff you can find around DIY build, I have something that's not exactly homemade, but you can get it at fabric shops and that kind of thing. This is a backdrop material. It's sort of a sheer white material that I think it's plastic. It feels similar to what like a photo umbrella would be made out of, and it's for a white backdrop. So I have it doubled up, 2 layers thick, and we're going to affix it to the softbox. Now all I'm going to do for this, I'm just going to put a couple pieces of Gorilla Tape on it. That way if we need to get in at the bulbs, we can just take off those couple pieces, because all you really need is it for it to be somewhat tightly held to the box, but that's it. You don't need it to be, you know, glued on all the way around. Okay, so there we go. We got our diffusion material taped onto the softbox like that. And now what we need to do is we need to put it on a stand. So now stands are a little bit harder to do a DIY thing with, obviously. I mean, you could affix it to some kind of, you know, PVC pipe contraption or maybe like a broom pole. But I went out and found what I thought was the cheapest option for a light stand. Now you can get light stands online for relatively, you know, they're going to cost you a little bit of money, but you can get them for, you know, 20, 30 bucks. I can't speak to the quality. The cheapest thing I could find for having the versatility, though, isn't a light stand at all, but instead a microphone stand. I found that microphone stands, like light stands, come in a range of prices, but came in slightly cheaper than light stands overall. And just like for light stands, the diameter of the mic stand head attachment is 5/8, which is the same width as a common spigot for light stand heads. So we're going to put the softbox on, and there we go. Now our head is attached to the mic stand, and we can, you know, extend it. And mic stands have a cool feature, which is a boom arm, so that you can, you know, boom them out like that, which to get that in a light stand is going to cost you a lot more. This mic stand was on sale at my local music store for about $30, and it's a pretty decent one. It's not top of the line or whatever, but it'll get the job done because this doesn't weigh that much, and it's not like we have a super expensive microphone on there that we're worried about. So, okay guys, I think I'm going to end it here. I think I covered everything that I can think of to cover with making one of these softbox things. I've been using these improvised ones for months now, and I'm really happy with them. I've looked around online for prices, and they range anywhere from $79, $149, $399 for different softboxes, different things. All in, you know, for just the box itself, probably cost me, I don't know, $5, $6. Throw in the light bulbs, which I got a pack of 2 for like $7. Then the socket adapter thing, you know, probably $20 for everything to power up and ready to go. And then maybe $25 if you buy like a store-bought head thing. And then with the stand, like I said, I spent $30. So this whole set here is $55 for me. You could probably do better. These prices are in Canadian, by the way. You could probably do better than this if you find things at certain sales, certain discounts, or if you order online. So it's, in my opinion, it's a better buy. It's more versatile, and you can do more with it. You know, or you can spend $150, $200, $250 on a store-bought one. It's up to you. But there's a lot to learn from making them yourself anyway. It helps you better understand diffusion, the type of lights you want, the color temperature, you know, sizing, what you're going to do, how you're going to diffuse the panel. You learn a lot when you do DIY projects like this, which is why I usually encourage them for other people. But anyway, that's all I really have to say about that, I think. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It means a lot. And if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit subscribe so you can join the Undone Legion. I don't do exclusively DIY content. I do mostly a lot of humor and comedy stuff. But every once in a while, I like to throw in a DIY video for stuff that I've been doing in order to shoot my comedy videos, the different struggles that I've gone through. I like to make DIY videos about them. But, you know, if you want to subscribe and see that kind of stuff, or if you think you might enjoy some of my comedy stuff as well, I encourage you to subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And to the rest of the Legion, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. All right, I'm done.